wind hit my car like a hand trying to shove it off the road. I drove the last mile on a narrow strip of cracked asphalt that ran between black rocks and a restless sea. Waves exploded against the shore, white foam flashing in my headlights like teeth. The lighthouse waited at the end of the spit, tall, pale, and alone. Its beam was cutting through rain in slow, patient sweeps. I told myself this was a normal job, night shift, 1 week, easy money. That thought lasted until I stepped out into the storm. Rain stabbed at my face. The air smelled like salt and rust. My boots slid on wet stone as I ran for the door, pushing it open. The lighthouse swallowed me with a groan of hinges and the sudden heavy quiet of thick walls. Inside, it was colder than I expected. Not just old building cold, more like the cold you feel near an open freezer or a grave. I flicked on the entry light. It buzzed weakly as if it did not want to be noticed. The keeper's room was small and practical. Desk, chair, a window, and a cot tucked into the corner. A radio sat on a shelf, dusty but intact. The place looked lived in, but not recently, like someone had left in a hurry and never came back to finish leaving. On the desk near a logbook was a piece of paper, crumpled, creased, like it had been crushed in someone's fist. I smoothed it out with my palm. The title was written in shaky block letters: Safety Protocols, Lighthouse Night Shift. Below it, someone had numbered a list. I laughed once, softly, not because it was funny, because it was easier than admitting my skin had already started to crawl. I read the first rule: keep the lantern room door locked from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. No exceptions. If you hear footsteps on the stairs during this window, do not investigate. The stairs are loud. Anything that belongs here will not need to hide. I looked up at the spiral stairwell leading into darkness. Water dripped somewhere inside it, slow, steady, like a clock. My throat felt dry. Rule number 2. If the light turns red, close your eyes immediately. Count to 30. Do not peek. When you open your eyes, the light should be white again. If it is still red, repeat the count. If it pulses, get under the desk and cover your ears. I stared at the ceiling as if I could see the lens through concrete. Lighthouses did not have red beams. Not like that. Rule number 3. At 1:11 a.m., the radio will turn on by itself. You will hear breathing before you hear a voice. Do not respond. Turn the radio off without looking at the display. If you look at the display, you may see a name you recognize. It is not calling from where you think. A gust of wind rattled the window. The glass shivered. For a moment, I was certain someone had exhaled right behind my shoulder. I turned anyway. Nothing. Just the empty room and the hum of the weak light. Rule number 4. If you smell seawater inside the lighthouse, hold your breath and do not move. Do not inhale. Do not swallow. Do not pray out loud. If you are alone, you must stay still until the smell fades. If you are not alone, you will feel wet fingers touch the back of your neck. Do not turn around. Do not scream. Do not let it know you noticed. When the fingers slide away, go to the sink and spit out whatever is in your mouth. Do not look at it. Flush until the water runs clear. I read Rule 4 twice. Then I read it a third time, slower. My stomach tightened. I could almost taste salt already. Rule number 5. At exactly 2:22 a.m., you will hear someone knock on the inner wall. 3 knocks, then 2, then 2. Do not answer. Do not knock back. If you knock back, it will learn your rhythm. If the pattern changes, write down the new pattern. Do not try to memorize it. I pictured myself scribbling nonsense while the walls knocked back like a heart. Rule number 6. The mirror above the sink is not for checking your face. If you see movement behind you in the reflection, keep your eyes on your own. Finish what you came to do. Leave the bathroom. Shut the door gently. If your reflection smiles and you did not, return to the keeper's room. Sit with your back to a wall until sunrise. I did not like the way the note assumed sunrise was guaranteed. Rule number 7. If you hear the foghorn when there is no fog, turn off all lights in the keeper's room. Sit on the floor and keep both hands visible. Do not use your phone flashlight. Do not light a candle. When the horn stops, wait 1 full minute before turning the lights back on. If the horn starts again after that minute, do not turn the lights back on. It has found you. That was the end of the list. No signature, no date, just ink pressed too hard into cheap paper. I sat down on the edge of the cot and listened. The storm outside felt louder now. I should have called my supervisor. I should have laughed and thrown the paper away. But the note was crumpled like it had survived something. The air inside the lighthouse still felt like a freezer door had been left open. So I did what the note told me to do. I locked the lantern room door before midnight. I checked it twice, then a third time. I kept busy. I logged the weather. I checked the power panel. I tried the radio. Static, faint, and far away. When midnight hit, I sat at the desk with the paper in front of me like a map, and I waited. At 1:11 a.m., the radio turned on by itself. It just woke up. Static filled the room, thin and icy. Under it, I heard breathing, slow, wet, too close. My hand hovered over the knob. I kept my eyes on the edge of the desk and turned the radio off. The breathing stopped the instant the power cut. I did not move for a full minute after that. My heart thudded in my ears. The storm seemed to press its face against the walls. At 2:22 a.m., I heard it. Knocks. From inside the lighthouse itself. 3, then 2, then 2. It was not on the door. It came from the inner wall to my left. A sound like knuckles on metal. I wrote it down with shaking hands. 3, 2, 2. I did not knock back. I did not breathe until it ended. For a while, nothing happened. I almost started to relax. That is how it gets you. The time crawled forward, slow and sticky. Outside, the storm dragged itself along the coastline, growling. Then, sometime after 3 a.m., the lighthouse made a different sound. Footsteps on the spiral stairs. Heavy, careful, coming up. Rule 1 had warned me. The stairs are loud. Anything that belongs here will not need to hide. These steps were trying very hard to be quiet. I stood up without meaning to. My chair scraped. The footsteps stopped. For a long moment, there was only the sea and my breath. Then the steps resumed. Closer. I backed away from the stairwell. I forced myself to sit back down. The air shifted. And then, I smelled seawater. A thick, wet smell like an open tide pool. Rule 4 snapped into my mind so hard it hurt. Hold your breath. Do not move. I froze. I locked my lungs tight and sat perfectly still. Hands on the desk, fingers curled around the edge like claws. The seawater smell deepened. It filled the room. The footsteps on the stairs stopped. Something else moved behind me. A soft sound like wet cloth being pulled across stone. My eyes watered. My throat begged me to swallow. I did not. Then I felt it. Wet fingers, cold as raw fish. They touched the back of my neck, lightly. My muscles screamed to jerk away. I did not. The fingers pressed. They traced the line of my spine, slow and curious. They slid up to the base of my skull. They paused there. I kept staring forward, breath locked tight, vision blurred. The fingers drifted away. The seawater smell slowly thinned, like a wave pulling back. When it finally faded, I stumbled toward the small bathroom. My chest hurt. My hand shook so badly, I nearly missed the sink. I spit into it. Something hit the porcelain with a soft, wet sound. I did not look. I turned the faucet on full blast and flushed until my eyes stung. When I came back into the keeper's room, the clock read 3:17 a.m. The silence inside the lighthouse felt worse. Then I heard it. Knocking, not the 3-2-2 pattern. This time, it came from the metal door at the entrance. Slow, deliberate. One knock. Pause. Two knocks. Pause. Then a long, dragging scrape across the door, like nails being drawn down the metal. I backed away. The knob on the door rattled. It did not turn. It only trembled. I remembered Rule 7 about the foghorn. There was no fog. But somewhere outside, a horn sounded anyway. It rolled over the rocks like a warning. My hands moved before my brain caught up. I snapped the lamp off. The room sank into darkness. I dropped to the floor. I held my hands out where I could see them faintly. The foghorn wailed once more, then cut off abruptly. In the darkness, the door stopped rattling. I counted in my head. At 60, I waited one more minute. Nothing. No horn. No knocks. Only my breathing and the sea. I turned the light back on. The room looked the same. Desk, cot, radio, the crumpled note. But something was wrong. The air felt occupied, like someone else was standing just out of sight. I swallowed and forced myself to look toward the bathroom. The bathroom door was open. I was sure I had closed it. I stood up slowly and stepped toward the sink. The mirror above it caught the weak light. I saw myself, pale, wide-eyed, rain-soaked. Then, behind my shoulder in the reflection, a second shape unfolded in the dark. Tall, too close, wet. It leaned in as if it wanted to share the mirror with me. My reflection did something I did not do. It smiled. And somewhere inside the lighthouse, a breath that was not mine whispered my name. It felt like it had been waiting all night to learn how to say it.